Hello everybody and welcome to this talk in the Odoo Experience 2020. Today I will be presenting our concept of financial plans and how to manage them within Odoo. But before doing that, let me quickly introduce myself. Hola a todos, my name is Jose Montero and I am a computer engineer with more than 8 years of Odoo experience. I work as a senior developer and project manager in brain-tec, an Odoo Gold Partner, winner of the Best Odoo Partner Europe Prize in 2016 and nominee for the same prize multiple years afterwards, including this year. Fingers crossed. Okay, about the agenda. The presentation is divided in 4 main blocks. Firstly, we will define the concepts of financial plans, and specifically the concepts of budgets and forecasts. Then we will have a quick look at standard Odoo budgets and their limitations, and how these limitations encouraged us to implement our solution. In the third block, the main block, we will have a small demonstration of our financial plans app. Finally, after this demonstration, we will have a 10-minute block for questions and answers. So without further ado, let's start. Financial plans, budgets and forecasts. What is a financial plan? Well, we can define it as the financial expectations that a company wants to achieve for a given period of time, usually a year. In our terminology, we have 2 types of plans, budgets and forecasts. A budget is a plan made exclusively of projected values, expected values, estimated values, planned values, however you want to call them. Important thing is, there are no historic values involved. A forecast is a plan consisting of a mix of historic values and projected values. Okay, let's have a look at an example to better understand these 2 concepts. By the end of 2019, we create a budget for 2020. There we define the expectations we have for 2020. Obviously, in 2019, we don't have any actual data from 2020. Therefore, all the amounts in the budget are going to be expected values. Time passes by, and in April 2020, we decide to revise our budget, making use of the available historic data, that is, January, February, and March. As a result, we end up with a revision plan based on the original budget, but with 2 important changes. First change, the periods January, February, and March no longer contain expected amounts, but actual ones, historic data. Second change, the periods April, May, June, etc. still contain expected amounts, but thanks to the historic data, such amounts should have been adjusted in order to be more accurate. This revision plan is what we call a forecast 3.9. Why 3.9? Because the first 3 months relate to actual data, historic data, and the other 9 months relate to expected data. Okay, along a year, it is normal that a budget gets revised multiple times. For that reason, in June 2020, we decide to revise again our budget. But in this case, we use forecast 3.9 as our base, as it is more accurate than our original budget. And the result of this revision is what we call a forecast 5.7. Okay, I think with this example, we all share now the same terminology, so time to move to the next block. Standard Odoo budgets and their limitations. Okay, in standard Odoo, there exists the possibility of creating simple budgets, where a budget is made of budget lines and where a budget line represents a planned amount in the company's currency for a given period of time, for a given analytic account, which is optional, and for a given set of financial accounts, also optional. Once a budget has been defined, the only thing we can really do is to compare our planned amounts with our actual amounts, but using the structure of the budget itself, as we can see here in the screenshot. Okay, but what if we need to compare our planned amount with our actual amounts using financial reports such as profit and loss? Or what if we need to create a forecast? Or what if we need to plan in multiple currencies? All these things cannot be handled via standard Odoo budgets, and that is why we decided to implement our solution. Okay, so now we are in the most interesting part of the talk, the demo. Here, my goal is basically to show you how to create and edit different types of plans and show you the different reporting options available. All right, so let's start with the demo. This is a version 12 Odoo instance. Here we have installed a few modules along its demo data, and that's it. Okay, so let's go to the accounting app, and within the accounting app we go to accounting, financial plans, and plans. Here we are going to define a budget for 2020. I'm going to use this one as a starting point to save some time. What do we need to provide? Okay, we need to provide a name, we need to provide a type, which is something that we can dynamically define, and we need to provide a currency rate set. As well, it's something that we can dynamically define, and this is important because here what we define are the exchange rates between the different currencies that are going to be present in the plan. In our case, we are only going to be using US dollars, so our currency rate set is basically empty. And the most important thing we need to configure here are the periods. We need to define the periods and the amount type per period. So here we have defined 12 periods, one for each month in 2020, and we have defined all of the periods to have an amount type planned. It could be planned, it could be actual. But as we already know, a budget is made of only planned amounts. So all of the periods are going to be planned. Once we are happy with this information, we click Fix Periods. And now the periods are fixed and can no longer be edited. So now what we need to do is to enter our numbers. Before entering our numbers, we need to understand how the plan is going to be structured. Okay, a plan is made of sheets. A sheet is made of lines, and the line is made of positions. So if we go to the sheets, we can create one. What is a sheet? A sheet is a container of amounts that are going to be related to one specific analytic account or to the lack of analytic account. Okay, so imagine that we define this sheet for analytic account 1. Then we can define lines. Lines a line is a container for amounts that are related to one specific analytic account, one specific financial account, and one specific currency. In our case, we are going to be using only the company currency. And for the account, let's select the first one. And now we can enter here the amounts. So we have 12 planned amounts to enter. So let's assume I want to enter 1000. So I can type 1000, hit the tab key. Again, I can type 1000, tab key, 1000, so on and so forth. Once I'm happy, I can save my result. I can create other lines. And once I'm happy, I save. And then I end up having, in this case, one sheet, one line, 12 positions. Obviously, entering data manually takes time. And that's why the Financial Plan app provides us with different functionalities to help us out. The first functionality is this Prefilled Plan. If we click on it, Odoo will analyze all the journal items in 2020, and for each combination of analytic account, financial account, and currency, it will create the corresponding structuring behind. So after the analysis, we end up having 3 sheets. In each sheet, we will have some lines, and in each line, we will have 12 positions with 0 amounts, of course. So no amount has been provided for us because we are planning. So we need to enter the planning numbers, the planned amounts. How do we enter these planned amounts? First approach, manually, as we have seen. Second approach is using the user-friendly export functionality that is available. Here we can select all the analytic accounts, all the sheets, click on Action User-Friendly Export. We just hit on Export. We get an Excel file that contains one Excel sheet per financial sheet. Okay, we have 3 sheets, and in each sheet we have all the information that was in Odoo. So this specific 1000 here represents the planned amount for this analytic account, this currency, and this period. Okay, here all the cells that have a yellow background are editable and we can modify them. So if I want, I can put here, I can use Excel features to provide 1000 values everywhere in this sheet. Okay, and let's go, for example, to the third one and provide a 3000 value everywhere. So let's copy paste. Let's use drag and drop. Let's copy paste and let's use the dragging feature here. So now everything is 3000, and let's put some comment here. Why not comment 1, and why not comment 2? We save, and now we can import, or better said, we can re-import this data into Odoo using this option, Accounting, Financial Plans, Reimport Sheets. We select the file that contains the data, which is this one. We click on Reimport, and now all the numbers that we entered in Excel are being imported into Odoo. We get a small summary here, and now if we check the numbers, we will see that we have 1000s everywhere for the analytic account 1, and we have 3000s everywhere for the lack of analytic account. And we even have the comment here in these 2 lines, as we did for within the Excel. So this is a very effective and efficient way of entering data for our plans. Once we are happy with our plan, we confirm it. Okay, once a plan is confirmed, it is no longer editable, and we can use it for reporting purposes. The first reporting option we can use is this smart button. This smart button presents us with this view. Here we have a specific grouping applied that, of course, we can change if we want. And we have financial accounts first and analytic accounts second. And here we can see the values that we have. Amount in plan, 1000s, and amount in journal items. In this case, we don't have journal items for these cases, so obviously the difference is 100%. If we go to, for example, stock interim account received, and we check here some values, you will see that, for example, here for August, we have $637 within the journal items, and we have $1,001 here in the amount in plan. Okay, I think we imported 1001 instead of 1000. Never mind. And here we can use this button to further analyze the journal items involved. So in order for us to really understand why we are getting these numbers. So this is one way of reporting. As I mentioned, we can group by anything we want. So we can group by, instead of account and then analytic account, we can do first by analytic account, then by account, and then by currency, for example. So you get things like this. So if you have multiple currencies, you will see things there correctly added up. Okay, so that's one possibility. But the most interesting possibility, the most interesting reporting feature is this one. We can go now to one of our financial reports, for example, profit and loss. And here we have comparison options. We have a new option, which is financial plan. And here we have available all confirmed plans that have a specific flag set. In this case, we have it, so we can apply it, and as a result, we get this report. The first column represents our actual data in Odoo, so the values coming from our journal items, in this case for the period 2020, as it's selected here. For the same period, we are showing the data contained in our budget. Okay, we have the same data, and then we have the absolute difference and the percentual difference. And if we want to analyze these numbers further, we can click on this link here and then click on the financial plan positions menu item, and we go to a similar view as the one we showed before. In this case, we are grouping by analytic account, and again we can see here more details, and we can analyze why we have $9,000 here and $1,000 here. Then you can check the journal items and see the reasoning behind, and then get information, useful information, so that in the future you can adjust your budget better. Okay, so this is the reporting options we have. Now if we go back to the plan, to this plan, imagine that now we want to create a forecast. How do we create a forecast? The most efficient way is to use the duplicate functionality here. So we click on it, we get this wizard, and here we have to click on new plan is a revision. The plan I'm going to duplicate is, well, budget 2020, and the new plan's name is going to be forecast 8.4. I'm going to select the type, forecast 8.4. This I'm going to keep it as it is, and now what I need to do is to say that the first 8 periods are actually going to be actual values, so historic. So I want the forecast to contain historic data, the one I have already collected. Okay, so I'm going to put the first 8 months as actual, and then the rest of the months as planned. I click on confirm, and what it's going to happen is that the new revision is going to obtain the data from the budget 2020. For the first months, it's going to get the values from our actual amounts. Well, we don't have any values, any journal items for these months. That is why we have zeros. But if we would have had values for January, February, and March, real values, those values would be here. And then for the planned amounts, it copies the amounts from the budget. So we have the 1000s here. For this one, we will have the 3000, and for this second one, okay, and for this second one we have we have nothing, as expected. We can traverse from revision to original, etc. by using in the budget we have a smart button showing the revisions, and in the revision we have as a field showing that this is a revision of this. So once we are happy with the revision, we can again put the data in, put new, more accurate values based on the knowledge we have already collected, adapt everything, and then we should confirm. And then if we confirm, okay, let's assume we have finished our adjustments. We have a new confirmed plan, and now if we go to the reporting profit and loss, for example, again, we now have another financial plan to select. Okay, in this case, the numbers are going to be different because, as you saw, things were different. If we change the period. So instead of saying this financial year, if I say, for example, this month, everything gets updated accordingly. Okay, so the feature of selecting different periods, as long as they have a correlation to the periods we have defined within the plan, everything works as expected. And for sure, this works not only with profit and loss, it works also with other financial reports, like for example, the executive summary. Okay, so it works with any financial report that we have. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you is how to create a budget for the next year based on a forecast of this year. So we go to the plans, we select this forecast, and again we click on duplicate. And now this is not going to be a revision, so we are not going to click on it. We are going to say that we want to duplicate this plan, the forecast. This is going to be budget. This is going to be budget 2021. Plan type is going to be budget. Now I want to use these periods, but instead of 2020, I want it to be 2021. So we use this field here, update years in new plans period. We put a 1, so everything gets updated correctly. And now we say that all the amount types are going to be planned, okay, because it's going to be a budget. So we do this, and after this we click on confirm, and we have a new plan that's going to be budget 2021. It's going to be based on the information we had within the forecast 8.4 of 2020. And yeah, we are now ready to go in and to put our numbers as usual. And this is everything for the demo. And now it's time for the Q&A. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you liked the talk, and here I am for any question you may have.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Q&A session. Here I'm with Jose, and we're going to go ahead and dive into your questions. But how are you doing today?
Hello everyone. Fine, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much, Amy.
Great. So let's go ahead and get started. I see we have a few questions in the chat. So I'll start with the first one. Is it possible to connect the forecast slash budgets with the projects module?
So the answer is that our this solution is really a financial solution. So it's like very coupled with the concept of journal entries. However, projects are related to analytic accounts, so there could be a connection with it.
Okay,
Through that.
Great, thank you. Do you plan to connect this module with the new feature spreadsheets of Odoo 14?
That's a good question, because yeah, when I was seeing the opening keynote from Fabian and I saw the spreadsheet, it was like, this is interesting. So yes, we talked about it internally, and we think it's a good thing if we integrate it with version 14.
Great, good. The next question we have is it possible to budget by analytical accounts using this method?
Yes. The main goal is actually to use it with analytic account. That's when it has its full power, because it links analytic accounts, it links it together with accounts, and it links it together with currencies.
Okay.
So
great, thank you. Are there any limits in regards to budgets or invoices totals? And does a message appear when you enter new orders or create new invoices?
No, so this is like a budgeting tool in terms of you can enter a budget, and then you can compare your actual amounts. So from your journal entry, so every time you post an invoice, you get some posted entries, and those entries are compared to the plan that you have defined, and that's the financial tool we are offering. So there is no kind of credit limit or anything that is going to raise messages when invoicing.
Okay. Let's see. The next question we have is the analytical account mandatory to forecast the budget? What should we do when the project module already uses analytics?
Can you repeat the question, please? I'm
Sure.
not sure.
So they say, this is from Romeric, is the analytical account mandatory to forecast the budget? We could start with that.
No. So analytic accounts are not mandatory. I mean, you need to provide, you can provide one or none. So if you are, for example, you are not using analytic accounts at all, then you leave the field completely empty. If you are using analytic accounts, but you are only interested in budgeting or in forecasting for the non-analytical entries, you can do it perfectly.
Okay. And quickly, we have someone asking, can you give the name of the app so they can find it?
So that's a good question. Right now, it's not available in the App Store because it's something we are still working on. So the main features are already there, and as I presented, but we are doing some minor improvements. And this whole thing was developed as well together with one of our customers. So we still are preparing some technical things.
Okay.
So right now, the only way to get the app would be to get in contact with us, with brain-tec. They can contact to our team, and we will be happy to help there.
Great, thank you. And that's actually all the time we have today, but we will have an extended Q&A, so you can join Jose in the Jitsi link that we are going to share in the chatter so you can continue the discussion.
Perfect, sure. I will wait for your questions there.
Thank you.
Thank you.